feminine energy. What is that? Is that just for women? Is it about lipstick? Is it about skirts? Is it about being soft or do nothing? Today I want to do a deep dive on what is that. And this actually is very applicable to every single person in the planet. Yes, including men. Last week, a dear viewer of the channel asked me, Blanca, how can I implement feminine energy in my life as a man? And then I figure, wow, he gets it. He really gets it, because that is maybe the first order of business. Feminine energy is the other half of the energy that created reality. You see, about every single culture, ancestral old culture, says that we had two energies to create everything that reality is all about, the feminine and the masculine. It's like the two parents of reality were the Divine Mother and the Divine Father. And some of them express them differently. You know, my Aztec way. My Aztec way, we say that we have 5 elements. 4 elements, just like you read them in normal astrology: fire and air, who are mostly masculine; water and earth, that mostly feminine; and the 5th element, which is movement. Yes, in order to create, we need to move, to be together. And it is really the expression of community of these elements. So that comes the next answer. Absolutely not. Feminine energy can do everything in the world, and masculine energy can do everything in the world separately. No, we need communion. And this you will see repeated in about every single culture. In India, you see it in the beautiful temples, when you see the Divine Mother and the Divine Father, indeed showing that movement, this communing, this moment of creation. So, even if this video is dedicated to feminine energy, I don't believe in a million years that is the only energy that we need to live. It is not better than the other one. It is, however, the one that we have been forgetting for many years, for a couple of centuries, how important it is. For the past few centuries, especially the last century, or two, we have really concentrated in what the masculine is all about. Great examples of that are the Industrial Revolution, machines, everything fast. That led us to industrialization and monopoly, accumulation. So all these embodiment of the ego, the extreme ways in which the masculine shows up in our society. Work very hard, work like a machine, work in competition, work in separation. This was the level of consciousness that we experienced in the past century. And what happened with the feminine? The feminine was forgotten, vilified, minimized, erased. Beautiful things like sensuality, and actually, you know, what I express as this being together and making babies was considered a really bad thing. It was considered prostitution. It was considered to be a gold digger, receiving That was considered bad. So all the feminine was considered, labeled as bad. You have the being intuitive and a healer labeled a witch. To be seductive, that was labeled as a prostitute. To be a seducer and a good conversationalist as manipulative. You name it. Every single aspect of the feminine was labeled as bad. And being a good girl implied to be just quiet, wait until you were selected by the successful man, and so you will be a good girl. That was a concept. And little by little, it came a new consciousness among women to say, we don't want that. We want equality. And equality got transformed into even more suppression of the divine feminine. It was equality in the sense of being equal to men. And these women just went on with the best intentions, because it was well intentioned, to go into universities, to go into the marketplace, and becoming really little men. Following in the same scheme of competition, of monopoly, of separation, in this same level of consciousness. If you don't know what I'm talking about, level of consciousness, last week I created a video of the 4 levels of consciousness. And this level of consciousness that I'm describing is the second one. Is the one of hustle and grind. Hustle and grind is a level of consciousness that is definitely superior to the first one of victimhood, because it's the one that is about taking total ownership. This beautiful book of total ownership, being completely the ultimate masculine, taking responsibility of what you do. So, it has a really positive and brilliant side of what could be the divine masculine, of taking responsibility for your own life, taking responsibility for your own decisions. But of course, it ends up in a dark side, because you take so much ownership that you don't see the nuances. You do not see the other. You do not create community. You are not soft for being fragile. In fact, being fragile is considered to be weak. Resting is considered a waste of time. Loving, absolutely a weakness. And all feelings are a weakness in that level of consciousness. And that level of consciousness, this second level, is what we as society have been experiencing for a long time. This level of consciousness is seriously bad, specifically for women. Because if we adopt this very masculine stand, we start becoming at war with ourselves. And this has been reflected into the health of women. It's so painful. I heard a statistic recently from Dr. Gabor Mate. 80% of the autoimmune illnesses happen to women. And it is precisely that. The description is, and scientists, doctors say, that what happens is that the body starts seeing the body as its own enemy. You see, that is what is autoimmune disease. The fight of you against you. So the woman doesn't want her feminine energy. She doesn't want to be a woman. Oh, it just hurts me tremendously, because this is serious. We're talking about serious illnesses. So what do? We need to move from the second level of consciousness to the third one. And to move to the third one is to adopt this feminine energy. And it's a little bit of repetition of the previous video, but so that you understand the big picture. Of course, there is a fourth level, and the fourth level is the marriage of the feminine and the masculine. So yes, this video is about how you jump from the second to the third, but there is more than that. In other words, even if I talk about feminine energy, I love and honor men. I love and honor masculine energy. I love and honor that we all take responsibility. Okay, so having said that, how do we move from the second level of consciousness to the third? What is the difference between the second and the third? In the second, you are in responsibility. How do you express responsibility? By taking control. How do you control things? Well, I'm an engineer. I have an MBA. I control Excel files. You take control by measuring things, KPIs. If you don't know what is that, key performance indicators. And it's really hilarious because, I was an auditor for a while in my life. Companies put so many numbers that we have to measure, and then they end up being crazy. I don't know, hospitals, how many beds they have, banks, how many bank accounts they have, how many, and we end up measuring the things that don't make sense to measure. So, have you noticed that the more you try to control life, the least in control you are? I see it as an example with my kids. When I try to control what they did, or when I have ever tried, I think I don't do it for many years. I learned this lesson, I'm good at this. But I think it's a good example. When you try to control your children and tell them, wear your sweater, or do you have the school book, so let me review your homework, they don't do it. Instead, when you let them, suddenly they do it. When you try to control the growth of that plant, it just doesn't grow. We have a saying in Mexico that translates more or less like the pot that is observed constantly will never boil. So when you are too much controlling your husband, your project, your children, your diet, your body, the most you try to control something, the least it happens. Instead of control, when you set the intention, and to set the intention is really feminine, is not to take the space. I set the intention to have a beautiful day. I set the intention to have a beautiful intimate relationship. I set the intention of my business to grow. I set the intention. You are really releasing this control and allowing an intelligence that is bigger than yours to guide you. This doesn't mean that you become passive and you do absolutely nothing, but you allow yourself to be guided. Setting the intention is one of the most powerful feminine choices that you can make. So think about it. This is your homework. What is what you are controlling so much that instead you can open your hand and see, the way it is perfect. And I open myself for the next level on this subject. Let's do it with money. Go and look at your bank account and see that you have this amount of money. Be grateful for it. I have this amount of money. I'm very grateful I have this. And I set the intention for it to grow. And you can be grateful and you can be appreciative for whatever amount of money. Imagine it's negative, the money that you have in the bank account. Just be grateful of the fact that the bank gives you the possibility to go negative. Be grateful of that. You have little or much, that's not the judgment. It is the fact that it's there. And little much is so relative, of course, because we put the ego and we want to control. You have 50 euros. Oh, it's very little, but somebody has nothing or has negative. I remember in my world of being a businesswoman, I read a book in which the author was talking about how much in debt he was. And he was peaceful because some other big company was more in debt. And a person who is, in the street begging for money is in zero. But the business owner, even if he's several millions of dollars, euros, yens, negative, has more self-belief. So this is what it's about. This looking at reality, what is, that's a personal responsibility, the masculine, but then with the love of the appreciation of what is, so that you set the intention for it to be different. Intention setting based on appreciation. And I'm giving you several things at the same time, because even with the same example, you are using several feminine qualities. Because to be able to do this, you need to be present. When you are present, present means not in the past, remembering how good it was, not in the future, worried about what will happen. Or the opposite, not in the past, horrified of how bad it was and worried that it will manifest now. Or in the future, longing that it will be better than how horrible it is now. Of course, you can also not be here and now by thinking, oh, I so want to be in another country. Also, I so want to be in another city. I want to be in another location. But what happened when you're here and now? When you're here and now, you can actually be grateful. Because what is here and what is now? You're alive. You're alive, and you can look at what is. This is my hand. Oh, this is my hair. This is my cup of tea. That you can just be with what is. And notice that is the perfection of what is. I give you another metaphor for this presence. The presence and the being, the what is like the great mother, is like the earth, is like that part of the body that is called the fascia. You see, the fascia was not even in the anatomy books for many years. The fascia is that tissue that is in between the muscle, the organs, and the bones. So you could argue that the muscles, the organs, and the bones are very masculine, and the fascia is the feminine. That is in between, that it has been invisible for years, that holds the space, that holds your body. The present moment is what holds all history, what holds all opportunities, what holds all you. All the beauty of the world is holding this present moment of here and now. How can you be present? Don't try to be present, just be. Just be. Don't even try it. Be it. A mantra that has been helping me to do this is to think, look, this is a moment. Look, this is a moment. I have the blessing, thank you God, for having given me children. I open my eyes to look at them constantly because they grow so fast. Now they are teenagers, 12 and 14, and yesterday they were babies. It just goes so fast. Tomorrow they will be parents. So what I say to myself is, now is the time. Now is the time. Now is the time. And I do the same when I'm doing a video like this for you. I do the same when I'm looking into the eyes of my dear husband. I do this whenever I coach somebody. I am present with that person because now is the time. And if you see that now is the time, your whole life becomes meaningful because you are being you. You're really holding the space of all that you are. And it's so interesting because this being present is very feminine, but it allows you to use all your masculine qualities, all these masculine energies of taking responsibility, taking action. You can be responsible and take action, be very masculine, but by being very feminine, by being present. Think about this example of the fascia. The fascia, the muscles, the bones, and the organs are not separated. They are together and they hold each other to hold you in your beautiful body, to do every single thing that you do. Even if you get quiet and you think that you are doing nothing, your heart is pumping blood in and out, in and out, in and out. Is that passive? Not passive at all. All the chemical transformation, electromagnetic transformation that your heart is doing, you are being alive. And that is what is being present here and now. Noticing the miracle of the present moment. Don't try it. Just do it. And how could you do it? By beauty, by art, by pleasure, by softness. Explore it. What does that mean for you? Years ago, I started with art. I painted this. You see it in every video. Years ago. And, when I was little, I always liked art all my life. But, my father was an engineer and he got into my brain that the only intelligent people were the ones who work with numbers. And I was good at numbers, so I ended up studying engineering. But I love art and I couldn't help it. The only thing I could do would be to go to museums and galleries. So I was a frustrated artist for decades. So when I realized this, I cannot live my life this way. I just took a piece of paper and a pencil and I started drawing trees. And another tree, and another plant. Nobody has ever seen that notebook. I am not Picasso, publicly an artist. But I just did it. And I allowed myself to do another one, and another one, and another one. And this, that decision of just drawing a tree brought me after so many years to be in front of this camera telling you this story, because that is what led me to discover the power of the feminine. So, I want to leave it here today for you. I recommend you that you go and listen to the video of the levels of consciousness. And let me know in the comments which other strategies, which other activities you do to jump from control to appreciation, to intention. Activities that jump from the masculine into the feminine. How can you be in the present moment? How do you do it? Wishing you much love. I see you next week.